All right, so couple things real quick. See? There's one.
I think maybe you missed it.
No, it's because I have the mask on. So we're gonna do on the budget. First of all, where are you guys at as far as designing your athletic training?
I made a list of the supplies. and
Have you guys
equipment.
started designing, coming up with things to get?
Yeah.
Okay.
I made a list.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of push back the due date. That was supposed to be due on Thursday. I'm gonna push it back. Okay, so I'm gonna push back the due date because I kind of got off as far as our schedule. We were supposed to have a test today, but I forgot to tell everybody we were doing that. So this whole hybrid thing is throwing me off. So we'll do the test. I'm thinking probably on Thursday. So the way that's going to look, unless I change the format, unless I change how we're going to do it, I'm still kind of trying to figure that out. The way it's going to look right now is, so Thursday's group will take the test face to face. We will be in here. It will still be online. Everybody will be taking the test online. But Thursday will be in here. And then you guys will be taking the test at the same time during class, but at home. So you guys will have to wake up for class to take the test. Okay? Is the way I'm thinking about doing it right now. But I will let you guys know if that changes. Okay? Yeah.
Does it have to be exactly when classes?
It doesn't have to be exactly, but the test will close at 10:55.
Okay, I work, so I just have some.
Okay, so the test will close at 10:55. That way, it's fair for everybody, because Thursday's group will take it face to face, and they will have until from 9:30 to 10:55, and then that's it. So I need to make it fair for you guys as well. Okay, so everybody has the same time. Now again, that could all change. I could open it up on a Friday and say it's due on a Saturday. It just there's a couple different things that I'm looking at doing. Okay, so I'm not sure yet. Trying to figure this out so that you guys all take it at the same time is interesting. Okay, so test sometime this week for sure. We will test this week, whether it's Thursday or I open it up Friday and have it due on Saturday. I don't know yet. The budget for the athletic training room is going to be next week. So athletic training room and your budget stuff, that will be next week. Okay, does anybody have any questions about how to do the athletic training room design?
Do we do it on paper?
However you want to do it. If you want to do it on paper, fine. If you know how to use the graphics, whatever, on your computer and you want to make it real fancy, fine. I don't care. But just design it somehow so I can tell what it is. Yeah.
So, like, do you want us to break it down so you can tell it's under $15,000?
Yep. So what I want you guys to do, and I'll send out some more information about it. But what I want you guys to do is, I'll give you the budget. I want you guys to go find everything that you're going to use to fill it with, and then you write some treatment table, $5,000 or whatever. Okay. So I want to see what you spend your money on. Okay. So that I know you guys came in under budget or right at budget, and whatnot. Okay. So I want you guys to do that. Okay. Any questions about that? Any more questions?
Do you have to do like little stuff like Band-Aids?
Whatever you need to fill the athletic training room with. Okay? Things that you think are going to be important to have in there. I can tell you what we order all the time. A lot of tape of various kinds. Athletic tape, stretchy tape, Elasticon, ice bags, Band-Aids, TheraBand. I mean, we order a ton of stuff. Band-Aids are included. So, whatever you think you are going to need to put in your athletic training room to get you through a year. Okay? So, you are a certified athletic trainer. Let's just play it out like this. You're a certified athletic trainer. You have your first job. You are starting from scratch. You have to order everything. You fill that athletic training room with needs. Okay? Maybe TheraBands aren't a need. Okay? Maybe you don't need TheraBands for rehab. Okay? Maybe that's not a need right now. Maybe it's not a need to get taping tables. Maybe you can get by with treatment tables to tape on. You know, it's not ideal, but maybe you can get by with it. Okay, get by with buying the cheapest tape this year, or get by with not ordering stretch tape, not ordering the Elasticon. The Powerflex. Okay, so maybe there's things that you can get by with for this year. Okay? Things that you have to think about. Okay, when I was at Pratt, I had a budget of $5,000. That was it, to order everything. Fortunately, I already had the tables and the capital equipment, which is what? What's the capital equipment? Or the non-expendable equipment? What would that be? Uh-huh. Okay, the things that you're not going to have to replace every year, right? So the things that you don't have to replace every year. But I had all that stuff, thankfully, but I had $5,000 to order tape and all my supplies. Fortunately, I didn't have football, so I didn't have to order a ton of tape. But still, $5,000 is not a big budget to fill an athletic training room, right? So, whatever you think is going to be important for this year that you'll need, okay? All right, so let's kind of review a little bit for the test. And I'll make a review to put on Canvas. Typically, the way I like to do my reviews is we'll have a game, okay? If we were all together in class, I'd have a game. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, Jeopardy, something. But since we're not all in class, I don't know how we're going to do that other than put reviews on Canvas for you guys to just look at. So, if you need to reread, go back and look at PowerPoints, whatever. Okay? Just make sure you study. So this test is over chapters 1 through 3. Okay, so it's just the first 3 we've covered. Okay, right now it's about a 45 question test. So about 75 points. So there's some multiple choice, multiple answer. There's a few short answer, not a lot, and then matching. Okay, so you kind of have a little bit of everything. Okay, on this test. So. Like I said, 45 questions, 75 points, give or take. That could change, but it's over chapters 1 through 3. Okay, so like I said, if you need to go back and revisit that information, you can, or I would suggest you do. Before we start reviewing, anybody have any questions just kind of about chapters 1 through 3, what we've talked about thus far? Super exciting material, I know, right? Yeah, it's great. It's a lot of fun. Okay? All right, so let's just jump in real quick. Give me some possible personality traits that an athletic trainer is going to need or possess.
Communication.
Say what?
Communication.
Okay. Communication. Patience. People skills. What? Empathy. That's a big one. Remember we talked about empathy. Remember the example that I gave driving my kid back from Iowa, my football player back from Iowa, okay? So empathy is a big one. What about, okay, it's different. You have empathy, sympathy. You guys know the difference? What's the difference, Corinne?
Empathy is like you feel, you kind of understand
Yep.
what other people are going through.
Okay.
Sympathy is like you feel bad for them or something.
Yep. Sympathy. I am sympathetic towards you. I kind of know what you're going through, right? Okay, so I kind of have an idea what you're going through, so I can sympathize with you because I've been there. I've had a season-ending injury, or I've had a career-ending injury, or something along those lines, so I can sympathize. Empathize is, I know this sucks, I know it's terrible, but we're going to get through this together, kind of deal. Right? Okay. What about a sense of humor? You think athletic trainers need a sense of humor? What? What? What would be another one? Another big one. You experienced it. You guys experienced it this morning.
Showing up.
Responsible.
Flexibility.
Flexible.
Flexibility. Show up for cross country practice and they don't show up. Okay. Flexible. Okay, you just kind of go with it a little bit, right? And that happens a lot. I showed up to a 5:55 last year and find out we didn't have one, but it was on schedule. Okay, so being flexible. Okay. Any others that you can think about? What did we talk about as far as keeping up with education? Intellectual curiosity. You have to have a willingness and a desire to keep learning. Okay? You got to have a desire to keep learning. How many CUs do we have to have every 2 years? Do you remember? Every 2 years. Anybody remember? It's 50. 50 every 2 years. Okay? And what is the organization that hosts that big convention where we can go get our CUs, get 25 CUs? What? That's what accredits a program. NATA, National Athletic Training Association. Okay? They host that every year, except for this year because for COVID. So an intellectual curiosity, a desire to keep learning, right? Okay. Give me some examples or conditions that would disqualify a person from a sport. Okay. Concussion, I wouldn't necessarily say completely disqualify. Like disqualify for good, for period. Like more than a season. Like they can't play. Heart condition. Okay. Absence of a kidney. Why would that be important? Why would it be a big deal for if you only had one kidney you can't play a contact sport?
If that one goes out.
Okay, well, yeah. What happens if you get hit? The kidneys are somewhat superficial, somewhat exposed. Okay, right here. If you get hit and you bruise that kidney or something happens to it, you only got one of them, right? So having a loss or absence of a kidney would be one, right? What about well, you said heart condition, so like carditis, okay? So some kind of underlying heart condition, okay? Give me some things that an athlete should do to promote good hygiene. Shower. Okay. Think about the rules for the athletic trainer. What are some things that we're going to require?
Wear shoes.
Wear shoes, sanitize, right? What'd you say? Aside from this year.
Actually wearing your shirt.
Don't put your dirty shoes on.
Wash before you get the
Okay. Shower before you get in the whirlpool. It's a big one. Okay. So, sweaty football player coming in from football practice, what would they need to do or should do as soon as they get into the practice?
Can't they leave their stuff outside the gym?
Well, first of all, don't bring it in the athletic training room. You don't need to bring your equipment in the athletic training room. But shower, okay? Shower's a big one. It kind of sucks that we have to say it here because y'all are 18, 19, 20 years old, brush your teeth, okay? That has to be communicated every now and then, unfortunately. What are some important athletic training policies that we need to have? For things that you need to set in place for an athletic training room.
No horseplay.
Okay. No horseplay. No food. What else?
No shoes on the table.
Yeah. Wear shoes on tables. No chewing tobacco. Right? Okay. Why is it important to have policies and procedures in place?
So it's not like chaos.
Okay, so you have rules, you have guidelines for those athletes to follow, okay, when they come in, correct? Okay, so it's not, like you said, mass chaos, which it's still going to be, just because there's a lot of people. But if you have rules and guidelines to follow, then you have a little better basis of saying, hey, you can't do that anymore, right? Let's see. List off some, just throw out some different areas of employment for athletic trainers.
Hospitals.
Hospitals.
Business places,
Say again.
like, big corporation places.
Okay.
Places with a lot of physical labor.
Okay. NASCAR.
Schools,
Okay. What kind of schools?
colleges,
High schools.
Okay. We're not really going to employ athletic trainers in elementary school, right? Or middle school for that matter. It's going to be secondary or college, high school or college. Okay. What else?
Clinics.
Clinics,
Military.
military, police.
Professional teams.
Okay. We said industrial settings are one. I have a couple friends that work at Coke, so Coke is athletic trainers, so big businesses, corporations. Why would somebody like Coke want to employ athletic trainers? They're a business. It's a business park. They don't have athletics. But why would you want to employ an athletic trainer?
So they don't have to send their people somewhere else and pay for it.
Right. So they don't have to outsource their physical therapy or whatever to someone else. They can keep everything in house. Okay? Any other settings that you can think about? What are some challenges that athletic trainers have? At any level.
Burnout.
Burnout. Explain burnout.
Like, you have a very weird schedule and you're constantly working
Okay.
around the clock.
Okay?
Like, other people will seem that they're like credible and stuff.
Okay. What else? What would be some more challenges that we're gonna have as athletic trainers? Say again?
identifying an injury sometimes.
Okay. What else?
Staying within your scope of practice.
Okay. Yeah. To a degree.
And insurance and stuff. Something like
A little bit. I'll get a really big one. Is
Coaches.
money. Okay? Money. Salaries. This job doesn't pay a ton of money. You're not going to go out and get rich doing this job. Okay? I mean, it's just not going to happen. Unless you are working with a professional team that pays you a whole lot of money. But even still, some athletic trainers that work at professional teams don't make more than about $65,000 to $75,000 a year. Okay, right now it seems like a lot of money, but wait till you get older and married and you have bills and kids and all that stuff. $75,000 isn't that much. Okay, so money's a big thing. Salary's a big thing. Okay, and I tell everybody, all my kids, and some of you may have heard this that came on visits. You're not going to get rich with this job, but I'm not going to get rich doing this job, but I love this job. I love what I do. So it's not a big deal to me. It's not as big of a deal to me. Okay, but I love what I do. So to me, this isn't a job. It's something I get to do. It's something I get to do. So salary is a big one. Okay. All the other things you guys listed are potential challenges that we have. Okay. Within athletic training. Okay. Explain to me an EAP. Somebody explain an EAP.
Emergency action.
Okay. So what does it do?
It helps people who don't understand the area or something.
Okay.
Get to, I don't know how to explain it.
Provides instructions of what to do in case of emergency.
Okay. So very, very detailed instructions. To the letter of what's going to happen. So, example, last year track, okay, we were hosting track regionals, and I called an ambulance for a kid. Collapsed on the track, called an ambulance. I activated EAP. So what happened was it breaks it down to the T on what you're going to do. Okay, so I had a student with me. So I was with that athlete. I then tell that student, go call 911. And then while they're calling 911, my other student goes to the gate to meet the ambulance. Okay? Because has anybody in here had to call 911 for anything? You're asked to stay on the phone, right? So you stay on the phone until the ambulance gets there. So I have one student on the phone with them. My other student is at the gate meeting them. So it breaks it down to a T. Somebody's going to call, another person's going to go meet them. I'm going to stay with the athlete. Okay? Don't leave the athlete. If there's only one of you, maybe. If there's only one person around, maybe. But we're in a group of a whole lot of people. So if you don't have a student, you can find somebody to call 911. Okay? Find somebody. And then somebody needs to go meet them and direct them where to go, where to drive. Okay? So that's the purpose of an EAP. And do we have it at just one location? Where are we going to have it? Every location we use, every facility we use. Baseball field, softball fields, okay? Cross country course, football field, practice fields, athletic training room, every facility that we use. Especially here, we're not all located on this campus. We're all spread out. So it's very important to have multiple EAPs, and they're all going to be different, right? Okay? So know what an EAP is. Know why an EAP is important, because I guarantee you that it will be on the test. Okay? All right, so think back to the first chapter, or the first section, chapter 1, okay? When we talked about athletic training, and we kind of talked about the history of athletic training a little bit. You guys remember that at all? Okay. So there was a book written by Dr. Billick. Does anybody remember what that book was called? Anybody remember?
The Trainer's Bible.
Trainer's Bible. Okay. Yep, Trainer's Bible. He wrote that, I believe, in 1920. Is that, do you have that?
1917.
Okay, close enough. Okay. So 1917, and then the Kramer brothers. What did the Kramer brothers do? What? Okay. They came up. The first thing they did before they started doing tape, stuff like that, they came up with different liniments or rubs or different things to help injuries. Okay. So that's what they came up with. Is Kramer still around today? They're kind of a big name in athletic training. They're all over the place. Kramer actually started in Kansas City. So they're all over. It's a big name. Okay, Kramer. So they started out very, very small and just in a few things. Okay. Which job setting has the largest percentage of employed certified athletic trainers? Do you guys know? Have an idea?
Is it clinics?
Take a guess. What'd you say?
Clinics?
Any other guesses?
What was the question?
Which of the following job settings employs the largest percentage of certified athletic trainers? Clinics and hospitals. You're right. Okay? Clinics and hospitals. Why would you think that they employ the largest percentage, the largest number?
Because they're big and they can be used for something like that.
Okay. Well, let's think about high school for a minute. High schools don't necessarily employ their own athletic trainers. Okay? So it's, especially in the state of Kansas, our high school athletic trainers are not necessarily employed by Alberta High School or Augusta High School. They're employed by the hospital and then contracted out. They're employed by a hospital or clinic and contracted out. Okay? So they're not necessarily Alberta High School employees. Okay? What form of certification is the most restrictive? Actually, tell me what the forms of certification are first. You guys remember? ACT?
ATC.
Okay. So ATC is nationally certified. Okay. But if you work in every state, there has to be a form of what? You have to be licensed. Okay? So, every state there is a form of licensure. Whether it's a license, it's some of them are exempt. Do you remember what state is exempt?
Texas.
Has zero regulation. Zero. Texas has they have their own state test that you have to take. Okay? So, just because I'm nationally certified, I still have to take that state license test. Okay? But there's one state that has zero regulation in regard to athletic trainers. You guys know? No. It is in the lower 48 states. California.
I was thinking that.
California has zero regulation when it comes to athletic trainers. Meaning you don't necessarily need to be licensed in that state. You're nationally certified, great. You can go work in California. You don't have to pass the state test or apply for a license in California. Okay? Whereas here, I have to apply for a license to work in the state. Okay? What's the title of the monthly research publication for the NATA? You know? Remember? It's the Journal of Athletic Training. Okay? Journal of Athletic Training. What are the different forms of insurance?
Primary, secondary, accident.
Say again.
Third. There's primary, secondary, accident insurance, and like catastrophic
Okay.
insurance.
So that's for college, for like college settings. But what about personal insurance? There's at least 3 different kinds: HMO, PPO, and POS. Okay. HMO, PPO, and POS. I think there's PHO too. Okay. Anybody remember what an HMO is? What an HMO insurance? What it does, or what it restricts rather.
It restricts them from going outside.
Yeah. So if you have an HMO and I want to have you go see Dr. Bruner, you have to get permission from your primary care physician before you go see him. Whereas a PPO, what's PPO do? Or what will a PPO allow you to do? Yeah, you don't need to get permission from your primary care doctor or family doctor to go see Dr. Brenner or a specialist. Okay? And then what's a POS? It's a point. Well, it's point of service, but it's a combination of both. So it takes an HMO and a PPO, and it's a combination of both. Okay. Oh, let's see. I hope you guys are writing this stuff down because I'm going to be honest with you, this is the test. Okay. When figuring out that you need, or when you're developing or getting ready to develop an athletic training program, okay, what are some things that you need to figure out first before you decide you want to develop an athletic training education program? Not an athletic training program, athletic training education program. The need. Okay, you have to come up with a need. Okay, I didn't talk about this in the PowerPoints, but do you guys remember reading about a SWOT analysis? Okay.
Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities.
Okay. No, good. So what's the purpose of a SWOT analysis? I'm putting you on the spot. Purpose of the SWOT analysis, basically what you just said, it breaks it down into categories. So you're going to find the strength, why we need the program, okay? So determine why we need the program, okay? That's the biggest thing. Is there a need for a program, okay? Is it going to be cost effective for us to have a program, right? So, and then we got to develop a mission statement and a vision statement. What's a mission statement? Give me an example of a mission statement.
One of our work is like let every good place exceed your expectations, such as like what your old program or place wants to establish.
Yeah, so what's the purpose, what's the mission that you're trying to accomplish within your program? What are you trying to accomplish within your program? Okay, what's your mission? Okay, so what would a vision statement be? What you want it to look like. Okay, so you have a mission statement, and that mission statement is what you're trying to accomplish within that program. Okay, the purpose of the program. A vision statement is where you want your program to, what you want your program to look like. Okay, where you see your program in 10 years. Okay, projecting. You're projecting what you want your program to look like. That makes sense. Okay, so mission statement, vision statement. Remember those. Remember what those are. Be able to give examples of those if you need to. Okay. All right, let's talk about insurance for a bit. The last section that we talked about, okay? Liability, negligence, all that stuff, okay? Explain to me liability. Someone tell me what liability is and explain it. Yeah, you're held responsible for something you did. Personal property damage or personal property damage. Or personal damage. Okay? So liability. I'm held responsible. I am liable for what happens to my athletes if I don't do it correctly. Right? Okay? So what's a tort? What's a tort? Say again?
Legal wrongs committed against.
Okay, legal wrongs committed against somebody. Right? Okay? What do we need to Well, let's back up. Negligence. What's negligence?
Like ignoring
Use ordinary courtesy.
Yeah, you neglected somebody, right? You just decided I'm not, I don't want to treat you, I don't want to, whatever. Ryan's hurt, and I'm like, he'll be alright. I'm not going to worry about it, he'll be okay. Or, someone tears their ACL in a game, and I neglect to do the proper tests that I need to do to make sure they're okay to go back in. Okay, so I send them back in, they get hurt even worse. I'm held negligent, or I've committed negligence because of what I did. Okay, so I'm negligent to that athlete. Okay, so explain non-feasance. Someone other than Ryan.
That one's when you just when you don't. When you don't, like care for them.
Think about the beginning of the word non-feasance. What did I say? Do you guys remember what I said to remember non-feasance by? It's not the true definition to the T, but it's
It's not like not performing what you can.
yeah, non-feasance. You did not do something, right? You did not do something. Okay. So what's malfeasance?
Doing something you don't have the legal right to do.
Okay. So give me an example of malfeasance.
You perform surgery on somebody without being taught how to do so.
Yep. I performed surgery that I can't do. Or I sutured somebody that I can't do. I can't do sutures. Okay, there are times I wish I could because it would make my life a whole lot easier sometimes if I could just stitch somebody up. But I'm not trained to do that, so if I did it, that's malfeasance. Okay? What about misfeasance?
Doing something but wrong.
Okay, so you missed something. You missed something. Okay? So, I forgot to do something. Non-feasance, I did not do something. Malfeasance, I performed something I am not capable of doing. I don't have the legal ability to do it. And misfeasance, I missed something. Okay? Now, these aren't the actual definitions, so keep that in mind. Those are not the definitions. Those are how I remember things. So go back in your books, PowerPoints, what have you, and get the actual definition of them. Okay, but this is how I remember those things. Okay, so here's one that we didn't talk about the other day that hopefully y'all read. Commission. What would commission be? Anybody know? Read it? Committed something. Commission. That's how I remember it. I committed something. Okay? So an act of commission. I committed something. I knowingly did something I know I'm not supposed to do. Okay? I knowingly did something I'm not supposed to do. So, make sure you guys know those definitions because that you'll have to know those. You'll need to know those for test. Okay? So, non-feasance. We're going to review them real quick. Non-feasance.
Not performing what you can perform.
Okay, so I did not do something. Okay? Malfeasance is what?
Doing something you're not qualified to do.
Performing something I'm not qualified to do or I can't legally do. So doing surgery, doing stitches, stuff like that. Okay? Misfeasance.
Or miss something but wrong.
Okay? So I missed something. Give me an example of misfeasance.
Like you examine their need for an ACL, but then you miss it. That's rare.
Okay? Okay? And then commission.
Committing something. No, you did.
Knowingly doing something you can't do. Right? Knowingly doing something you can't do. So an act of commission. So, along the lines of misfeasance, let's talk about this for a minute. Along the lines of misfeasance, what are some ways that you can reduce the risk of litigation?
Asking another person.
Okay, so getting a second opinion, but let's say I'm doing an evaluation. Okay, let's say I'm evaluating an ACL. I think it's okay. I don't find that it's torn or anything like that. So I'm like, you know what, you're fine. Okay? So I let them go through the rest of the season or a couple games on a torn ACL. So reducing the risk of a litigation, remember we talked about forming relationships? Forming a relationship with the athlete, the parents, if need be. Knowing that, not saying that I am trying to excuse the fact that I missed anything, that I didn't do it correctly, but sometimes if I do a test and I don't find anything wrong, but come to find out something is wrong, that family or that athlete could hold me accountable, hold me liable for that, correct? Because I did not do it correctly. I didn't go through the proper channels to get further evaluation. Okay? So they could hold me liable for that. But on the flip side, if I have a good relationship with that athlete, or I know the family, I've developed a good relationship with them, and they know me, they know I'm a good person, I'm a good athletic trainer, I would never knowingly go out and harm their child. They may say, you know what, that's not him. He didn't purposely do that. They may still be upset that I missed it and I let their son or daughter finish the season. But they may or may not choose to drag me through a lawsuit because of a relationship, a good relationship. Okay? So having those relationships is important. Okay? Let's talk about HIPAA. What's HIPAA?
Protecting medical records.
Protecting medical records. What's it stand for?
So I don't know,
Health Information Portability and Accountability Act. Okay? Health Information Privacy Portability Accountability Act.
I
Okay?
have to know all that.
Know what it is. I want you to know what it does, why it's important. Okay? I'm gonna stop this one.